How's it going, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be giving a status update on the California Freedom Week cases, Duncan, Miller, Rody, and beyond that a lot of you guys ask me frequently about. So let's talk about this. But real quick, before we jump into this video, if you think that the state of California needs to stop infringing on our Second Amendment rights, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I also want to give a shout out to one of the main sponsors of the channel, that is USCCA. Through your membership, you get training, education, and self-defense liability protection. So if you carry a firearm, I highly recommend you look into USCCA, and I'll put a link to them down in the details section. So like I said in the intro, this is going to be a status update video on all the California Freedom Week cases that a lot of people ask me quite frequently about. The whole point of this video is to give you guys a current status on all of these major cases that a lot of us are anticipating. So let's kind of talk about these. I'm going to talk about the most major ones first, Duncan, Miller, Rody, and then talk about some other cases that have great implications for California and our 2A rights. So first, let's talk about Duncan. Duncan v. Becerra, like a lot of you guys know, deals with California's magazine capacity restrictions, where here in the state of California, you cannot possess, import, buy, sell, manufacture any magazine that holds more than 10 rounds under California Penal Code 32310. Duncan v. Becerra is a case that has made it all the way up to an en banc panel review in the Ninth Circuit. Judge Benitez in the Southern District of California found that this law in the state of California was unconstitutional and violated our Second Amendment rights. It was eventually stayed by him in his own order, but this led to Freedom Week, where millions of magazines were purchased in a single week's time period, and a lot of us in the state of California still possess those because of his stay. That decision by Judge Benitez was appealed up to the Ninth Circuit, and a 3-judge panel found as well that this law violated the Second Amendment, and then that decision got appealed as well, and it's up before an en banc panel review. As this case stands right now, it is pending an en banc panel review, which means a panel review by 11 randomly selected judges. It's actually 10 randomly, and then the chief judge, and it is set for oral arguments as of June 22nd of 2021 at 9 o'clock. As of right now, we don't have the makeup of what that panel is going to look like, but we should be getting that fairly soon, and it will give us a better idea of what that makeup of the court looks like and what our chances look like. Now let's move to Miller v. Becerra. Miller v. Becerra is kind of that second Freedom Week case, but hasn't actually led to a Freedom Week case, but a lot of people started to refer to it as Freedom Week 2.0 or the second Freedom Week case. Miller v. Becerra deals with California's assault weapons ban language under California Penal Code 30515. This is that language that pretty much results in Californians having to configure their rifles in specific ways, like featureless builds or fixed mag builds, and essentially outlaws and bans and penalizes traditional formats of things like AR-15 style rifles or AK rifles. We can't have them in the traditional configurations that any other state usually can. Miller v. Becerra has actually reached the full trial completion, so arguments in the hearing have happened before Judge Benitez, and also all the supplemental briefs that he requested have been submitted as well. So as it stands right now, the trial is complete in Miller v. Becerra, the Freedom Week 2 case, and we are simply just waiting for Judge Benitez to issue some sort of order. Now, when Judge Benitez will actually issue his order, your guess is as good as mine. No one really knows. And actually what could happen with some of these other cases as well that I'm going to talk about now after this one is that Miller v. Becerra could be waiting for some sort of determination in Duncan as well, or maybe even the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Corlett case that has now been taken up by the Supreme Court. But as of right now, Miller, all that information, the trial is completed, it's been to Judge Benitez, and we are simply waiting for him to issue an order. Now I want to talk about Rody v. Becerra. This is kind of that third one that a lot of people ask me quite a bit about and has huge implications in the state of California as well, because this deals with California's ammunition background check system. In the state of California, there are these things called eligibility checks, but really it's just a background check. And essentially anytime a California resident goes to a gun store and wants to purchase ammunition, we have to go through either a standard or basic eligibility check / background check. And Rody v. Becerra is challenging this whole system. Now again, this was a case before the Honorable Roger T. Benitez, or St. Benitez, in the Southern District of California. And in the motion for preliminary injunction, he granted that preliminary injunction. The state sought a stay from him. He denied the stay, and then they sought an emergency stay up to the Ninth Circuit because they were going to appeal that. The Ninth Circuit granted that emergency stay, and then a 3-judge panel actually heard that appeal in the Ninth Circuit. So oral arguments in Rody v. Becerra were actually heard on November 9th of 2021. So oral arguments were completed in that case last year, and then also there was some supplemental information that was requested by one of the judges who was actually out of New York, who sat as a supplemental or substitute justice on that panel. He wanted some additional briefings. Those briefings were submitted, and so kind of everything was wrapped up in that. But what happened is when Duncan went en banc and that whole issue kind of was appealed to the en banc panel, then what happened in Rody was actually stayed pending the determination in Duncan. So as of right now, Rody v. Becerra, or the Ammo Day case, is pretty much on hold until Duncan is determined. And that is also what has happened similarly in Rupp v. Becerra. Rupp v. Becerra is another case that is before the Ninth Circuit, a 3-judge panel. It is pending an oral argument, and that deals with also California's assault weapons ban language, but deals more with the Roberti Roos list, the kind of old categories of assault weapons. Rupp v. Becerra also has great implications for assault weapons in the state of California. It was appealed up to the Ninth Circuit and was pending a 3-judge panel review of that determination by the lower court. And Rupp v. Becerra has actually been held in abeyance, which means that oral arguments will not happen in this case until the final determination of Duncan v. Becerra. So like you saw, and kind of like I mentioned early on, the implications of Duncan going en banc had huge ramifications for some of these other cases like Rody and Rupp, which now are pretty much in a holding pattern until Duncan is determined. So those are like the 4 major ones that I get asked about quite a bit, being Duncan, Miller, Rody, and Rupp. Those are kind of the big ones that are probably going to have huge implications on the state of California and our 2A laws here. But there are some other cases as well that have kind of worked their way up and also are working their way up that have huge implications on California as well that I get asked about quite often. One of the ones that still pops up quite a bit is Young v. Hawaii. Young v. Hawaii dealt with Hawaii's issuance of open carry permits, but a lot of people knew since it went to the Ninth Circuit, it had major implications for the state of California and some other states as well. Young v. Hawaii actually had a negative determination by the en banc panel recently. That en banc panel found that the Second Amendment does not protect an individual's right to openly carry a firearm outside the home, and in conjunction with the prior Peruta case, which found that you do not have a right under the Second Amendment to concealed carry a firearm out in public. Pretty much in the Ninth Circuit, we now have precedent that says the Second Amendment does not protect your right to carry a firearm outside in public at all, whether open or concealed. Now, a major thing with Young is recently a cert petition has happened and they are seeking review by the Supreme Court. Whether or not the Supreme Court will take that up, we will find out. But they will have huge implications for the Ninth Circuit and also beyond if the Supreme Court does decide to take up that case. Along those lines, another huge case that has major implications not just for the state of California, but just nationwide is, of course, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Corlett, which was actually granted cert or review by the Supreme Court. The New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Corlett case deals with the city of New York's issuing permits and pretty much requiring proper cause for issuing of concealed carry permits, but pretty much saying that to meet that proper cause, you must be outside of the ordinary individual, have something so unique to be granted that permit and to meet that standard. We don't know when the oral arguments are going to happen yet in the Supreme Court, but of course, when that happens, when we get that information, I will definitely let you guys know because I will be watching that as well, because that is a huge anticipated case because it has nationwide implications. Now, there are 2 other cases that people ask me quite frequently about that also have implications for the state of California. The first one being Reyna v. Becerra, which we've covered recently. Reyna v. Bonta, because of course Becerra, the AG, has left California now, so there's a new AG. But the Reyna case deals with California's handgun roster. So recently, the Reyna case survived the state's motion to dismiss. Pretty much the state of California was trying to dismiss this case by saying that this has been addressed already, but it survived that motion to dismiss because the Reyna case also deals with something new that the state of California implemented last year, which is that new rule in the state of California that for every 1 new handgun that gets put on the California handgun roster, 3 of the oldest ones have to be removed. So since that is a new law and this is presenting a new issue to the court, it has survived the motion to dismiss on that issue, and pretty much that deals with that whole backdoor California handgun ban that we've talked about heavily on this channel as well. Another case that people ask me quite frequently about is the Nguyen v. Becerra case, which deals with the California law restricting purchase of handguns 1 every 30 days, and soon to be 1 semi-automatic centerfire rifle in 30 days as well. So as far as Reyna and as far as Nguyen, those 2 are still moving forward to trial in the Southern District of California. Neither one of them has hit a huge roadblock yet, but if anything happens, I will definitely let you guys know. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to answer the best of my ability. Also, if you guys like this video and you would like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell because that helps the channel analytics, helps us spread the word about the Second Amendment, also spread the word about two-way news like this that is going on in California. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.